Well, greetings there, Blade fans. OG Blade Reviews back with you once again. And no, this is not the knife, which is the subject of today's review, but I figured I would bring out the original because what you're going to see is going to be a highly embellished and upper end version of this very popular knife from Kizer, designed by Vladimir Legachev. And was looking around for other knives designed by Vladimir. Couldn't find any. You may know of some, but sorry, but I couldn't find any just doing a broad internet search. But this is the Momo, which I reviewed some months back, a very large and I would say almost a kitchen knife looking blade, but you may not see it that way. I would say it is kind of a interesting multi-purpose knife. If you're an outdoor sort of person, it might serve your purpose well for some outdoor cutting chores. If you're a tactical person, I could certainly see this as a tactical knife, which has a straight spine with a little bit of a drop and a very high grind. The steel on this one, as I recall, yeah, there it is, 154 cm. Well, you're going to see a bump in the blade materials and in the handle materials on what I'm about to reveal to you. So let's put this guy aside for now. And what have we got in the Kizer box? And this is a pretty plain Kizer box for a very fancy knife. But here you see the Momo. It is a 4.18-inch blade. Vladimir Legachev is the designer. And look at this, S45VN steel, titanium and purple haze with a steel liner. So let's see what that exactly means. As I said, we've got a pretty plain cardboard box here, sleeve over the outside. The original came in kind of a plain box too. We've got a little pluck out thing here with a door. And we've got the Kizer knife, this time in a Velcro pouch. Inside you have their, to me, strange little patches, you know, kind of almost like a Pokemon looking sort of a thing. Got your Kizer info here and a microfiber cloth, I think I said. But here is the black pouch. And this knife, give me a minute to get it out because they use their standard size pouches for a very large knife. And complete with fingerprints because this is a DLC coated blade, one of the best coatings there is on a polished S45VN steel blade. And before we open it up, I just want you to take a good look at this purple haze fat carbon. Crazy stuff. Titanium polished bolsters up front. A polished and coated, I believe, titanium clip. Let's find out. Yeah, titanium clip. No magnetic draw on that one. And really nice carbon fiber scales. Yeah. And it is definitely a front flipper, as you can see. I'm going to use the old left hand to flip it open. And oh, look at that thumbprint. If you get this knife, folks, for about $200, which I think is a fantastic price, Kizer really keeps their costs down. It's going to be a fingerprint magnet plus. So keep a microfiber cloth handy as I have here. It's, yeah, I mean, black polished metal is generally going to be a fingerprint magnet. Look at the size of that blade. Just a bit over 4 inches and highly polished. There's your S45VN mark. Kizer and Momo. And this mark here, these two lines with a dot in the middle and a dot after it, is Vladimir's logo, I believe. Really fancy, fancy, fancy on this knife. And the action, drop shut. Very much so. There's your liner. It is a exposed liner, interestingly enough. Pretty much wide open in the back with a backspacer that contains a lanyard provision. We've got two screws on each side holding the handle scales on. They're pretty good dimension. We've got weight relieving on the inside. I think you can see that if I get it in the light right. But trust me on that, there is weight relieving on the inside. So for a large knife, it is light. And we're going to weigh them both up to see if we've gotten any change in weight from the fancy version, the upscale version from the original. We're going to measure as we normally do at this juncture, if I can find my tape measure. And let's go for the full length. The full length is, we're going to call that like a 9.4 with, as they say, a 4 point, what did the box say on it? Anyway, yeah, we got a 4.18. I'll take that measurement from them. 4.18 inch blade. Other dimensions. In millimeters, the blade stock fairly thin. Going to be a slicey one. See if I can get, what I'm going to do here is get the tang so we have an accurate read. 2.9 on the blade stock. And that's 2.9 millimeters. Let's leave it where we had it, and we'll get the inches. 0.11. And handle, 0.51 inches. And finally, the weight. Trying to keep my fingers off the blade. Good luck. 5 ounces. Just going to call that 5 ounces, 5.03. So for a large knife, I think that's pretty decent. Really nice action. I'm still a little compromised with the right hand, which saw surgery last year, but the left hand front flips it just fine. Really nice. I mean, it's one of the easier front flippers out there. If you're a front flipping sort of dude or gal, then you're good at it. And you can front flip a lot of knives, maybe even ones that weren't designed to front flip. Extremely glossy blackened blade. DLC, the way to go. And I think the bolster is probably a DLC as well. I'm not sure they do DLC over titanium. Maybe they do. But it certainly feels light in the hand. Let's get that original out here for compare again. And there it is. Very plain by comparison. We have an aluminum handle on this guy with an aluminum, like a gray aluminum and a black aluminum. The bolster is aluminum and the handle is aluminum. And 154 cm. This comes in, as I recall, around 110 bucks. This comes in just under 200, and this came from White Mountain Knives, my own purchase. You can get 10% off at White Mountain, by the way, if you use my discount code OG-Blade, and I'll make sure you've got that in the comments. So dimensions are exactly the same. I'm curious as to whether the weight is around 5 ounces or more or less. Let's see. .3 we'll call that. So this knife is heavier by 0.3 ounces. And it's still weight relieved. We still have steel liners, but the aluminum apparently is going to weigh a little bit more than the weight relieved carbon fiber. And that would make sense. Carbon fiber is a light material. But there you have it again, new and old. You can still get the original. It's a beautiful knife. And if you're going to use it strictly for utility purposes, the 154 CM should do you just fine. I would say the bump up to S45VN here will certainly give you a better blade steel, harder, better edge, etc. You may know all the qualities of S45VN. I'm not that familiar with it yet, but it's supposed to be, obviously, as the name would imply, a bump up from S35VN that's been out for quite a while and still a premium steel. If we put this up against the Rat 1 from Ontario, and Ontario knives, are they still a thing? We've got over an inch longer overall and a blade at least a half an inch or so longer than the diminutive, in this case, Rat 1. I've got another fancy pants knife here on the table. This is the Max Ace Goliath with the Damascus bolster, stainless Damascus bolster. And what did they use? M390 on this one? No, S90V on this guy. Heavily stone-washed, way different blade finish than we have on the Momo. And yeah, it is an inch longer. Wow. With a blade slightly longer, maybe in the vicinity of a half an inch or so. So curious. Yeah, we've got a 4.5-inch blade, we'll call that, on the Goliath. It is definitely a Goliath and a beautiful knife if you can still get these with carbon fiber handles. It is also weight relieved. It also has a exposed liner, a little bit thicker, I would say, though. Not good, not bad, but just thicker. So let's see how the edges on this Momo. Oh, man. Oh, high flat grind, man. This is a razor blade. They did a great job on that edge, and it's got a little bite to it. Very fine micro teeth, I would say, without looking at it under the microscope. It's a beauty. We'll take another look around. We do have jimping here. The jimping, as with the original, is somewhat beneath the surface of the bolsters and the frame. A little on the smooth side, but it's still there and it has a little bit of grip. You can lay your thumb way out there if you'd like, as I like to do. And how to adjust the lighting today just to show you this thing. And it definitely is a deep, rich DLC black. Getting my spit all over it. Yes, I'm salivating over the knife. But these are available at White Mountain and perhaps some other sources as well. I don't know if we're talking about, let me see if I can lighten this up just a little. Yeah. I am not sure of the other sources for this. I can't promise they're still available at White Mountain. This was a very popular short that I put up on this, as well as on Instagram. So don't know, but if anything's ever out of stock at White Mountain, you can put your email in and be notified when they get back in stock. And that has worked well for me in many cases for other knives. But there you have it, the Momo by Kizer, high-end S45VN DLC polished blade, fat carbon fiber, purple haze, polished titanium bolster, all the rich accoutrements you would expect and probably a $300 knife, let alone a $200 knife. Take 10% off of that, and you got about a $180 knife using my discount code at White Mountain. So I hope you do, and hope you get a hold of one if you're interested. Be well, take care. I'll be back soon.